I hope the honourable member begins to understand what it's like to wait for social care, stuck in a hospital bed, or other people having to give up their work to care for them.
In yesterday's video, I discussed how I think having strong principles is essential to being a strong leader. But another aspect of being a strong leader is having passion and having a willingness to call out your peers who may not be on the correct side of issues. And that brings me to Jeremy Corbyn. So this week, the UK is having their autumn budget debate, which follows the budget statement that was delivered to the House of Commons by Philip Hammond. Now, maybe you think a budget debate sounds boring, but when Jeremy Corbyn's involved, it's not. So I have a few Jeremy Corbyn clips to share with you, and largely they're from the budget debate, but I'm going to have an extra one at the end that is kind of separate from that. But first up, let me intro the first clip. So after Theresa May led the Tories to a disastrous election where they lost their majority when it was expected that they would actually gain seats, it was followed by a string of resignations. Resignations that carried on into this week as well, when George Freeman, head of Theresa May's policy unit, resigned, claiming the party lacks a coherent economic program. So with the Tories already in a bad position, this is what Jeremy Corbyn had to say about the economy overall and where he sees it going under this budget.
So it's falling pay, slow growth and rising poverty, and this is what the Chancellor has the cheek to call a strong economy. His predecessors said they would put the burden on those with the broadest shoulders. So how's that turned out? The poorest tenth, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the poorest tenth of households will lose 10% of their income by 2022, while the richest will lose just 1%.
While economic inequality, of course, remains a strong theme in Corbyn's message, it's not even just about the policies here. It's also about the delivery, the attitude, and the charisma. Something as simple as how Corbyn shoots a look across the aisle as he's waiting for the Tories to shush up. That's part of the intangibles that you just can't find in any leader. So these clips do get progressively better, and the next one is on Grenfell Tower, a story that I covered months ago when it happened. So in late September, a Grenfell contractor said that sprinklers would have saved the tower from burning down. And then earlier this month, Corbyn demanded £1 billion in the budget to install sprinklers in all high-rise social housing. And of course, it's not in the budget. And this is what Corbyn had to say about it.
The horrors of Grenfell Tower were a reflection of a system that puts profits before people, that fails to listen to working-class communities. In 2013, the government received advice in a coroner's report that sprinklers should be fitted in all high-rise buildings. Today, once again, the government failed to fund the £1 billion investment needed. The Chancellor says the council should contact them. But Nottingham has, Westminster has, and they've been refused. Nothing was offered to them. We, Mr. Speaker, have the privilege to be members of Parliament in a building that is about to be retrofitted with sprinklers to protect us. The message is pretty clear. This government cares more about what happens here than happens to people living in high-rise homes. In effect, saying they matter less.
So once again, Corbyn shows us that being a strong leader is not just about the policy, but it's how you actually deliver that policy. So by using Parliament as an example of a building that is getting retrofitted with sprinklers and comparing that to high-rise social housing, which isn't getting sprinklers, it really shows the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Now, the next clip is on social care, where currently over 1 million elderly people are not receiving the care they need due to funding cuts, and it's an issue that MPs on both sides have recognized. Days before Mr. Hammond's speech, 90 MPs, including senior Tory and former cabinet ministers, wrote to the Prime Minister, demanding cross-party action to tackle the social care crisis. 1/3 of the MPs who signed the letter were Conservative. Yet despite that, social care wasn't even mentioned in the budget, and this is what Corbyn had to say about it.
Over 6 billion will have been cut from social care budgets by next March. I hope the honourable member begins to understand what it's like to wait for social care stuck in a hospital bed, or other people having to give up their work to care for them. The uncaring, uncouth attitude of certain members of to be called out.
Okay, so I've watched that clip multiple times, and I'm not getting tired of it. And I think it's because it's so rare to see a politician actually care about people and actually stand up and show the passion that people actually in these situations who need social care have. He has the same passion that people in those situations have for their own families. And that's, I mean, it's amazing how rare that quality is. But it is a rare quality. And having it in a leader combined with the strong policies that Corbyn stands for is just a winning combination. And hopefully it will become an actual winning combination in the near future. Now, the last clip I'm going to show you here is where Corbyn talks with a veteran outside. Now, while Theresa May is known for running away from voters, Corbyn actually stays and engages with them. Now, I'm just going to end on this clip because I think it speaks for itself.
Hello, mate. I'll just do this. Can you do this picture? Yeah, of course I am.
I want to chat with Angela about this because we're quite a big armed forces.
I met some of you when I came to Angela's event here. Particularly issues of housing and the mental health services.
I don't have a problem with housing, but the mental health part.
Mental health is stress. I know a lot of former soldiers in my own constituency, and I have spoken to the army about this, and it's too much reliant on charity. It needs to be statutory involvement, and I said I would take it up straight away with the Ministry of Defence.
You're a star.
I do understand it. And
I'm a big Labour man. My dad was when he was here.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Love you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today.
Love you.